It's the Chicago way.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What's Up, Cuz? I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my favorite cousin. I love him so much. He's got a birthday coming up. Lancey Irvin, how you doing, cuz?
Cuz you kind of shocked me with that. You know, sometimes when you get a little older, you forget when you have birthdays coming up, which my birthday is next week. I'm happy to, AJ, I'm happy I have a birthday next week. You know, sometimes, man, it lets a little bit like, whoo, can I reach that birthday? I'm happy for all those candles that my wife Paula's gonna put on those cakes. But what's up, cuz? How you feel, baby? There's been a lot going on in sports.
I'm doing good. I am doing good. And welcome to all of you who are tuning in to What's Up, Cuz. We were off last week because it was Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday holiday. And, you know, I got to tell the truth, Lance. You know, for most of my life, I've been blessed and haven't had to work in companies or anything. I've kind of had my own thing going on for the most part. But when I did work at companies, there was one thing I refused to do, and that was work on Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. And sometimes the companies I worked for, you know, wasn't a holiday, and they were like, well, you know, we worked that day. I'm like, y'all work that day. I won't be there. Well, you can use a floating holiday. I'm like, I ain't using shit. Jay ain't going to be here. I'm telling you now, I'm going to have a flu. It's going to be a one-day flu. And they were like, you can't do it. Okay. Watch what happened. Sure enough, I'd call them in the morning. Yo, I'm sick today. I will not be there. They never got in trouble with it. They were like, well, I guess he's sick. I like, don't make me go to the angry black man. The man went through enough. Give him a damn holiday.
Exactly, Jay. Give him a holiday like the things that Martin Luther King did for African Americans, but not only African Americans. People always want to say it's just African Americans. No, it was everybody across the world. And if he wasn't going to be recognized with a holiday, come on now, Jay. Right is right. He helped everybody. So on his holiday, we need to observe like some holidays should be a day off, and that's one that definitely should be a day off. So kind of like you, I'm gonna give me a day off. I'm gonna celebrate Dr. Martin Luther King for all he did. Now Paula told me his name wasn't Martin Luther King at first. I think she said it was Mark something at first before it got changed. Him and his father changed their names to Martin Luther King. So Martin Luther, rather, excuse me, last name was King, but he changed his name. I want to say it was Mark. Then his father went on a trip and studied Martin Luther or something like that. Came back, changed his name to Martin Luther King.
So Martin Luther, who left the Catholic Church and started the Lutheran Church, and I grew up Lutheran, and you see I'm wearing my Luther South shirt today, the Lutheran high school I graduated from. So yes, there was a lot of Martin Luther's techniques in Martin Luther King and what he tried to do moving forward. So, I mean, there's always more we can learn about the man. Even though we know a lot about Dr. Martin Luther King, there's always more we can learn about him. Definitely. But just know, me and Lance ain't working that day. So
no, I'm not working.
I don't know what y'all going to do, but we ain't going to be there. So we were off last week. Good evening to you too, Armando. Good to see you, my friend. Very good to see you. For those of you tuning in for the first time, welcome to What's Up, Cuz. This is our weekly show where we discuss everything going on in the world of sports. We started this show in July of 2020 to talk directly to the African American community. There are so many athletes, coaches, owners, people involved with sports who were saying, you know, we don't ever get to talk directly to the black community. Well, here's one of the outlets where you get to do it. You can talk directly to the African American fan base, and you know, we try to bring a lot of knowledge and have a lot of fun on this show. And there's so many ways you can tune in. We appreciate you tuning in. If you are watching us on the Sports Zone Chicago, the Roku channel, we appreciate you watching us on the Roku channel. That way you can watch us anywhere around the world. If you do not have the Sports Zone Roku channel, but you do have Roku, just go on there, add that channel. I've got Roku. Just add that channel on all your TVs all over the house so you can watch us at any time, and all the other shows that we also offer here on Sports Zone Chicago. If you're watching us on the Sports Zone Chicago YouTube page, go ahead and like and subscribe to that page. If you're checking us out on Facebook Live, I know Lance shares the feed, I share the feed. Go ahead and let us know and send us your comments, questions, say what's up with us. Wish us a happy Martin Luther King birthday delayed if you want to do whatever you got to do. We appreciate that. And if you're in the car, you're at work, you're at a PTA meeting, you're somewhere bored as hell, you're watching us on the Sports Zone Chicago app, we appreciate you watching us on the app. If you do not have that, my cousin Lance is getting ready to tell you where you can get that.
You don't have to be bored as hell to watch us, though. But if you want to learn everything about sports, the iTunes store, the Amazon store, and the Google Play store, the Google store. So please watch us. Like Jason said, I love seeing us on Facebook, YouTube, all the other streaming platforms. But with that being said, cuz you tried to slip one in on me a little while ago. Did your Dolphins make the playoffs?
Why you going back 2 or 3 weeks?
I'm just asking because we haven't had a show since then. Did your Dolphins make the playoffs?
My Dolphins made the playoffs. I was very proud of them. We made the playoffs. I don't know how we made the playoffs. Our quarterback was injured half the year. Most of our team was hurt. We did make the playoffs. We gave the Bills a hell of a run in Buffalo, but we couldn't pull it off. But, that's what happens when you got a rookie quarterback who's only played 3 games. You throw him in a playoff game, like, go get him. Like, dude, you got to call hike when the clock is running down. On 4th and 1, like, we can't take a delay of game penalty there. What happened?
You can do that, and especially against the Buffalo Bills, whose defense is real stingy. Was
real stingy because now they asses at home with us.
Now they at home waving. They at home next to my Chicago Bears. It's all the same. I don't care if you made the playoffs. They all wave. They all sitting down on an island somewhere right now, Jay. Let their bodies recuperate from what they had to go through this year. But I just had to ask you about your Dolphins, and I'm not going to talk to you about Tua, whether he should play or not. I'm going to hold off on that until later. But I just want to bring up your Miami Dolphins.
We do have some football talk coming on later in the show. We got to talk about Jerry Jones. We got to talk about Jerry Jones and the Cowboys and a whole bunch of other stuff, but that's coming up later on the show. But, hey, we do also have a guest tonight. Can you tell everybody who we have coming on the show tonight?
Cuz for the longest, I've been trying to get our guests on the show.
Okay.
Been trying to get my man. You know how people always talking about prep school basketball and high school these days. Well, if we don't make it, maybe we could go to prep school, man. It's not that easy going to prep school. So I wanted to have our guests be able to talk and hear from one of the best prep school coaches in the country, my man Raphael Chilius. He's a prep school coach at South Kent. And South Kent has a history of just having loads of players. My man Chills and Coach Isaiah Thomas. He coached Markel Folks when he was in college. Deion Waiters. He's been everywhere. He's big in USA basketball. So we're gonna have my man Raphael Chilius on the show. And if you're in collegiate basketball, Jay, if you coach, if you don't know Chills, AJ, you're really not a collegiate basketball coach if you don't know that man right there. They're loaded at South Kent this year. My man Juwan Howard has one that's going to Michigan. So with that being said, can't wait to have him on. We could talk everything about prep school basketball because he will give us a history lesson.
Well, I can't wait. I can't wait because, that is an avenue for many people. But I don't think, like you said, a lot of people understand what their role is and how that whole thing functions. So we wanted to do a show on that. And I know we got a lot of people tuning in who follow us on Twitter who are tuning in. They really want to hear this information. So he will be coming up in about 20 minutes. About 6:30, Coach Chills is going to jump on and he'll be with us for at least a half hour because we got a lot to talk about with him. So before we get to that, we wanted to dedicate this first show, this first segment of the show, because there is some shit going on in Florida right now. In case you all have not heard, Ed Reed, who was the head coach of Bethune-Cookman College and is not the head coach of Bethune-Cookman College now. He was never offered a contract. The university rescinded it because Ed spoke his mind. He spoke the truth. And for those of you, and they can't handle the truth, Reed. That's what I'm calling him now because he came out and said some stuff that you've talked about before. We've had private conversations and you talked about it a little bit publicly. Deion Sanders talked about it. A lot of people talking about it. A lot of people are in their feelings when we talk about HBCUs and some of the areas where they need to improve. Well, if you're sensitive about that, this segment is not going to be for you. I'm telling you right now. So we have to do our job and tell the truth and bring these things to light when they come about. And you know, this is going to be a family fight. We're talking about our community. We know HBCUs do a lot of great things. Your daughter just graduated from one less than a year ago. I went to one. You know, a lot of our family members did. But there's some problems. And, you know, people are not going to be quiet about this anymore. So there are two videos that we need to go over here. One is to give you all background. Like I said, Ed Reed was going to be the head coach there. He was never offered a formal contract. He went to the school to start working early to do some stuff, but there were a lot of things that were out of place. Okay, so after that video, there was a big brouhaha that came out, and Bethune-Cookman rescinded the offer that they were going to make to him, and he's no longer going to be the head coach there. And then there was some breaking news that happened that's going on right now down there at Bethune-Cookman with the students who are protesting. So we have two separate videos. Sean is going to play. Sean, play the first one so that we can give our viewers a background. This is Ed Reed talking after he learned his contract was going to be rescinded.
After playing in what we started doing, young man. Motherfuckers. Yeah, I curse. And y'all done heard curse words before. And they got parents in here. You know I don't want to leave. And like I told you, I want all these recruits. But they got some corrupt people in this world, some evil people that don't care about kids like I do. So I want y'all to hear the truth from me. I ain't withdrawing my name. I got the receipts. They got all kinds of stuff going on around here. Hoarding these buildings with nothing but trash in them. You understand me? And Dion was right. And I know I'm right. And they got some people in here who be snitching to their ass. And I work amongst Judas as Jesus walked with him. And I ain't have a problem with it.
So that's the first video. That was Ed Reed. He posted that one this weekend, where you can tell, you can hear the emotion in his voice. He was upset that they would not offer him a contract after he came out with a video last week saying how he showed up on the campus. His office wasn't even cleaned out. There was trash all over the field, blah, blah, blah. So he starts that video by saying, what did we do when we first got here? And what he did was he gathered up a lot of the student athletes, the volleyball team, track team, wasn't just the football players. He gathered up a lot of student athletes and said, look, we got to clean this place up. Let's do this. Now, his point is they shouldn't have to do this. There are people who are getting paid to do this, and they're not doing their job, is what he said. And so people got offended by that. Oh, he's just coming in talking, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now the big brouhaha started. He called out the university and the administration. People were upset about it. And so the university, instead of just fixing the problem, decided this dude is the problem. We can't bring him in. Wait till he really find out what we got going on down here. And so they rescinded the offer. And so that did not sit well with the students at Bethune-Cookman. And so we have another video of this is what is happening maybe a couple of hours ago. This is breaking news. Sean, go ahead and play that clip. This is from the news down in Florida.
Now at 4:30, hundreds of Bethune-Cookman students spent hours this afternoon protesting what they call poor living and campus conditions. The school recently announced it stopped contract negotiations with Ed Reed as head football coach.
The former NFL star posted on social media talking about the campus's conditions when he visited. News 6's Molly Reed was at the student protest today and shows what they want to see.
The students here at Bethune-Cookman say Ed Reed's videos sparked the idea for the protest, but say they've been living in poor conditions for quite a few years. They say Ed brought that to a bigger stage.
You know, we voice concerns. We send emails all the time, no responses. So this is what it has come to.
Shouting the Board of Trustees has got to go. The BCU students listed out the problems around campus, many sharing videos and pictures that show mold in the dorm's walls and ceilings and on their belongings.
I paid thousands of dollars out of my pocket to be here, and like, it's not taken care of. Like,
The first couple months I was here, I literally was sick because of the mold.
The protest comes after former NFL player Ed Reed posted a video on social media.
But now I'm out here walking with the football team, picking up trash.
Reed was in contract negotiations with the school to become the next head football coach. He was on campus where he says he was met with trash and poor conditions.
Get out of here, man. They mutt me. These didn't even clean my office when I got here.
Then over the weekend, the school announced they stopped negotiations with Reed and are reopening the search. Reed was seen in another social media video shortly after.
There are some corrupt people in this world, some evil people that don't care about kids like I do.
At the end of the day, he wants to change for not just the football team, but he wanted for the HBCU community, the BCU community. So I feel like it's just a slap in the face.
Football players and students disappointed by the announcement and say Ed Reed was right.
The way a lot of us see it, he spoke up against what was wrong, and they got rid of him because of it.
We've reached out to the school's representatives several times today for reaction, but have not heard back at this time. In Daytona Beach, Volusia County, I'm Molly Reed, getting results, News 6.
So there you have it. That is what is happening today down in Florida. The students are now taking this upon themselves. And so we need to discuss this, Lance. And, unfortunately, this kind of happened like a couple hours before our show, because I'm like, at this point, I kind of want to bring in some guests to help us talk about this. But, we'll talk about it amongst ourselves because we've had this conversation. And we love HBCUs. We really do. But we also understand they have some limitations. We also understand, because we've gone through it firsthand, we've seen people who are ignorant and are in certain job positions, but are ignorant of their duties. We have, as Ed Reed said, we've observed people who are just evil. There are people who are posted up in these positions at HBCUs across the country who are there merely for a check, don't give a damn about the students, don't give a damn about the community. And we need to talk about this as the Black community. The biggest threat is always the enemy from within. I understand we're underfunded. I understand that there's a lot of racism in how we're funded in states like Mississippi and Florida and Virginia, but there's a lot of stuff that we control ourselves that we just ain't doing. And there are too many people, because they have certain connections, because they're in this fraternity or this sorority, or they're a member of this organization, or they went to this church or this political group, that they got these jobs. And that's fine if that's your connect in. But once you get the job, you got to do what you're supposed to do. You ain't supposed to just be sitting there posting up and letting our people suffer. And to hear those kids say that they had mold in their rooms, didn't we just have this conversation about a month ago when we were talking about Howard University, Lance?
We just had this conversation about a month ago, Jay. And one thing, we're just talking about the conditions that we control some things, right? Like you said, I think you put it, Jay. I get the lack of resources. I understand that. Everyone should be able to have a chance to have resources where things is fair. But sometimes stuff's not fair. I get all that. But there's no reason why, if it's true, like he said, his office should not be cleaned. We control how clean the man office is, Jay. Office was, right? That doesn't make any sense to me. All he wanted was a clean office. And the thing is, see, Ed Reed's name was big enough where he could come out and say some stuff and he gets some news media attention like he should have. Some of us name where your name might not be good enough. You can't get attention. You can't get the media to come and publicize things that's not right. So with that being said, Jay, this happens all so well. Like, for instance, Jay, I'm not going to mention any school name. I'm not going to say a name. But you and I both know schools where, how can you be a D1 sport where you should supposed to have several coaches on the staff and you don't have any assistants? We control that, Jay. We control whether a team has an assistant or not. How can you be any type of school where your kids travel to away games and they can't properly eat? They're not being properly taken care of. How can you be a school where your team goes on a road trip and they don't have a trainer traveling with them on a road trip? How can that happen, Jay? And I know a lot of coaches the same way you know a lot of coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen. I don't know a PWI that has happened to.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff is not right. We just want what's right for everybody. In 2023, if you can't have a trainer travel with you on the road trips, if your kids can't properly eat when they go on the road, if they can't eat in the facilities properly, if they can't be fed properly, then you probably shouldn't have a program. You probably shouldn't. And I'm not. And you most definitely shouldn't be Division One.
Right.
You shouldn't.
Right.
You shouldn't.
And the sad part about this, Lance, is that again, these are mostly African Americans who are in these positions of trust and authority at these HBCUs, and they're just not pulling their weight. They're just not doing the job. They are treating athletics as if it's an afterthought. And we've said several times on the show, you cannot do that, especially when you are a D1 institution. Bethune-Cookman is D1. Jackson State is D1. Howard is D1. There are things that the athletes should expect, the parents of these athletes should expect, the students of the school should expect, and we need to get this done. If you need to scale down some things in order to do things the proper way, then that's what you need to do.
Exactly. And here's my thing. Reggie Theus is the athletic director at Bethune-Cookman. I know Reggie Theus. He never mentioned Reggie Theus' name. So who's responsible for that? Who's responsible? Because and I know, Jay, most of the time we will mention or maybe throw somebody's name out there, slip it to somebody to come in the media and post it. They never said Reggie Theus' name. So who's in charge of that?
Exactly. And for those of you who've watched our show long enough, you all know that me and Lance know a whole lot of people. And one of the things we won't do is bring them on our show and ambush them. Especially when there's a lot of controversy coming on. We tend to try to wait a little bit and let things, settle so that they're not coming in and getting ambushed. But we got some questions for Reggie. We got questions for a lot of these people at a lot of these institutions. And, we do bring them on. We do talk about the things going on. Remember, we had your guy from Tennessee State. They had basketball coach. We had him come on to, kind of talk a little bit about, because back then the controversy was, why is Jackson State pulling out the football game with Tennessee State?
And here's my thing, Jay. Mm-hmm. Knowing Reggie Theus like I know him, Reggie is a good person. Reggie wouldn't do that. I don't know who, but Jay, I doubt if Reggie would do that. I doubt if Reggie would do that. That's all I'm saying, Jay. So I don't know who, but Jay, we have to do a better job. It's about the student athletes.
Yeah.
It's about the students that attend these universities. The young lady said so eloquently, Jay, I paid thousands of dollars for this room. She deserves to have a room where she can feel like she's at home. So when the students start bringing stuff out, Jay, you and I both know it's a problem. And I said this last month when you and I was talking about this. And I'm taking leadership in classes. And I tell people all the time, these words when you hear, you need to run. This how it's always been. It's 2023. Well, our resources are not as good as everybody else. Run. We get it, but they should be close or semi-close. But those are the things that scare me, Jay. And Bethune-Cookman, if that is true, Jay, they have a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, they do. Well, you know what I find interesting? So while we haven't heard anything from Mr. Theus, we ain't heard nothing from their president either. We ain't heard nothing from the president of Bethune-Cookman. We ain't heard nothing from the board of trustees. I've experienced this as a journalist when I try to cover a lot of other schools, and I'm like, where y'all running to? Why y'all hiding? You in charge. You in charge. If someone was coming out and blasting me in the media and I knew it wasn't true, you best believe I'd be running in front of the camera like, whoa, hold on, this is a false narrative. The fact that they're not saying nothing, the fact that they quiet is telling you where there's smoke, there's fire. What's up, Erica? How you doing? What's up, Brandon? How you doing too?
And Jason,
there's something going on.
What are you, Jay? You're investigative what?
Reporter.
Jay, so now if I called you and said, Jay, they killing your cousin, they said I'm did this, or this, what would old Jason Palmer say?
First of all, I'm gonna say, well, I'm just gonna follow the paper trail. That's the first thing I'm gonna do, and that's the thing they don't want. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna give all these HBCUs some advice because everything that's happened on with Deion Sanders, because everything that's going on with Ed Reed and everything else, people are now looking at HBCUs athletic departments like they never have before. And I'm not talking about the general public. I'm talking about people like me.
Mm-hmm.
Once we start gathering documents on you, once we start looking to see how this money was spent, you're going to have to answer them questions because people can say one thing and it may not be true. You know, you take exactly. Comments, you take interviews with a grain of salt, but the paperwork don't lie. Follow the money. The paperwork don't lie. But the whole company got a lot of money. They got a lot of money. Where is the money going? Ed Reed is asking that question. Y'all got all these buildings around here that's not being used. You got trash in them. Where is the money going? It's not going towards the students' needs. And that is a problem.
And Jay, here's something else. Kind of like Deion. Ed Reed helped out at Miami for some years, right?
Yes, he did.
Ed Reed understands and knows how it's supposed to look.
Yes, he does.
You understand when you take a job, when you leave a PWI, you take a job at HBCU or anywhere. I'm not just going to say HBCU anyway. You know how it's supposed to look. You know how the student athletes are supposed to be treated. You know how you want your kids to be treated. You don't mind it being a little bit of difference. But when the bar is here and you all the way down here and you start asking questions when you're an educated person and the questions you can't get the answers that you expect, and when stuff sounds shaky and you know how to investigate, you know how to research, you know how much funding is supposed to go here, you know what goes there, and the answers start becoming real shaky because what people don't understand, also, I should say people don't understand, this is Ed Reed's job. Ed Reed signed up to do what's right by the kids. Ed Reed is a competitor. We want to win. We don't mind sometimes doing more with less, but why we got to do less with less with less with less?
Right.
They don't have to be like that.
Well, and the thing that gets me is when you have broken mentalities. And I think that's the thing that Ed Reed and Deion Sanders are really bringing out, is that there are too many people in these positions with broken mentalities and are not capable of really serving in these positions. And the truth of the matter is they need to be removed somewhere else. And I think what is happening now, because we're in 2022, you know, I always look at things with the African-American community in terms of generations, okay? We've now probably in a generation, the third or fourth generation, where many families have got, we still have some people who it may be their first generation of kids going to college. But that ain't everybody. Like our family, we got people who, you know, Brooklyn is now what, second, third generation college educated? You know, we're talking about these generations of people who've got a lot of education behind them, not just bachelor's degrees. They got master's degrees. They got doctorate degrees. We're getting to that level now as African-American people where you just can't fool us with the old Chitlin circuit move. You know what I'm saying? Like people too smart for that now. You gotta come to them correctly. And when you have someone like Ed Reed, like you said, who's been at some of the top institutions and sees how they run things, he's only trying to bring that to you at this particular HBCU. You have to be receptive of the information. You have to be willing to change. I'm pretty sure Ed Reed did not go in there thinking he's going to walk into something and, I'll just, you know, make a couple of moves. He knew he had to restructure some stuff, but I'm sure what got him frustrated was he's trying to work with people who ain't trying to go nowhere.
Exactly, Jay. And especially when he didn't have to walk around cleaning up a building or buildings. He did it on his own. Right. And maybe he got frustrated because people quick to tell you can't do that. And Ed Reed probably was like, I can't do what? It's on my own time. I'm trying to make it better for everybody else. Can I get a little bit of help? And he probably got the runaround. Oh, this person's supposed to be doing this. Oh, no, she can't do this. Oh, no, he's not supposed to be doing that. Now, granted, he said it kind of harsh, and he said, I understand. But with that being said, Jay, I mean, come on. He just wanted better for the kids.
Right. And better for the kids at Bethune-Cookman makes the community better, makes the community stronger. And that's what we have to understand. You know, these HBCUs are precious, they are important, and we need to hold their feet to the fire just like we would if we went to a PWI. You know, again, our community, we can go to PWIs, we can go anywhere we want now. This ain't 1950 no more. Okay, we can go wherever we want. But, you know, wherever we go, we need to be treated with respect and we need to be treated fairly.
And Jay, kids are smart. They're speaking up. They have social media. Same way what happened at the University of Missouri. Those student athletes didn't like how they were being treated at a PWI. They spoke up. And some changes were made. So kids speaking up these days because they're different avenues and different platforms they could go on where their views can be expressed. But they want to have good living conditions. Jay, don't you want to eat really good cafeteria food?
Man, I told you, my wife went to Texas A&M, and when we went down there 2 years ago, and I looked at their living facility, I like, dude, I paid $230,000 for a house, and I don't have all this stuff that y'all got. How y'all get all this? And even she was like, man, when I was here in '96, we didn't have none of this. So, you know, colleges today are on a different level because they're trying to recruit the best students. And, you know, our first guest, when we bring him on, you know, he's about, you know, helping basketball players get to this level and further on with their career. But trust me, Coach Chill, he also wants to know how your university is going to treat anyone he's about to send to their school. You know, that's a big part of this whole thing. So, you know, this is not a good look for Bethune-Cookman right now. And that's really hurtful, but it's an opportunity for them to fix it. But these administrators, they got to pull their heads out their asses and start figuring out where the problem is and start fixing this, because Ed Reed's video, whether they like it or not, if it's true, it's true. And we got to do better by our kids.
We do, and Jay, we're not saying that it's all about how much money you spend on a building.
Right.
You could spend $300,000 for a house. I could spend $150,000 for the house. But my house can look like it's cost $300,000 because I'm keeping it up. It's clean. I'm gonna have the window shades in order. I'm gonna sweep it up. I'm gonna throw my trash away. So my area, my neighborhood is going to look clean. That's all we're asking, Jay. And I understand that some HBCUs don't have as much money as the PWIs. We all understand that. And I said this on the show. Schools, especially our HBCUs, have been underfunded for years, and we know that. And we've been advocating for them to get the money that they're supposed to get. But when you get the money that you're supposed to get, you have to spend it the right way. Make sure the kids get what they're supposed to do. Make sure the university has the things they need to do. I don't want to read about Professor X stole $300,000. I don't want to read about that. I want to read like the school has a new library. The school has this for students. The computers are functioning and working the right way.
I hear you. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit more about this topic near the end of the show, but we're going to take our commercial break because our first guest is here. He's back in the green room, and oh man, I can't wait to have this conversation because it's so much conversation about what a prep school's supposed to do, and I'm just going to let y'all go at it. So everybody stay tuned. We got Coach Chill coming up. In about 2 minutes, you're watching What's Up, Cuz.
know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time.
Just pay attention.
I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
Welcome back, everyone, to What's Up, Cuz. I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lancey Irvin. Before we bring on our first guest, just a really quick shout out. We're going to delve into this a little bit later on this month. Some history was made. Some history was made while we were on spring break or Martin Luther King's holiday. The ladies at Fisk University in Tennessee, the gymnastics team, they were the first HBCU gymnastics team to ever compete at I think it was the NCAA tournament or the finals or something like that. And they are the only HBCU that has a gymnastics team. And they put on a show. They were on Good Morning America. They got a bunch of publicity behind this. And, Fisk isn't the biggest of the HBCUs. It's actually one of our oldest ones, but just a shout out to those ladies. I know it was very difficult for them to get to the level where they are, especially in gymnastics, which is a very difficult sport. But we just wanted to give them a quick shout out and tell them how proud we are of them. And, let that be a lesson of the potential in all of our HBCUs and what they can do when they receive the proper support. So way to go, ladies at Fisk.
Hey, Jay, we also had Dominique Dawes on our show, so we do follow gymnastics. So we need to try to reach out to the ladies at Fisk, see if we could get somebody on the show.
Yes, I think we're going to get them either in February for Black History Month or March for Women's History Month. And just so you all also know, I did reach out to the Chicago Bears. And at some point here within the next couple months, we're going to get our girl, Tanisha Wade. Tanisha's going to come on the show and talk to us about her role with the Chicago Bears. And all of a sudden, the Bears have got a bunch of black people. We're running things, and we got all sorts of GMs and presidents. And I'm like, whoa, no, we done took over the Bears. What's going on?
Hey,
so
that Kevin Warren hiring shocked me, Jay. That came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. So, yeah. So we're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later on tonight's show. But, hey, let's get to the first guest. You go ahead and introduce him because you and this dude go back.
Hey, Jay, I hate bringing people on the show, Jay, that's in better shape than me, that do workouts, really good coaches. I just hate, but this young man coming on the show, Jay, he's a great person. I love having great people on the show. First of all, he's a great person. He's a family man. He's a really good coach, Jay. Hey, Jay, I had to go over some of his players that he coached and been around. Darrell Wright, Andre Blanche, Isaiah Thomas, Deion Waiters, Markel Folks, my man Papa Deer, who he helped me recruit at SMU. And like I said, he's a great person. He's the head coach at South Kent Prep School in Connecticut. Jay, he coached in college too. Did I tell you that?
He was at Eastern Carolina University. You know how I know? Because we used the picture. And he said, thank y'all for using a picture of me so young. So
he was at East Carolina. He was at Villanova. He was at University of Washington. You know what? I'm tired of just bragging about him. But welcome to the show. Let's bring out my man, Coach Chills, Raphael Chelis.
Thanks for having me on, brothers. And I gotta tell you, if this What's Up Cuz is not syndicated, somebody's missing it. They're missing it.
Hey, Chills, you try to make us feel good. But
we're working on it, Chills.
Man, we are working. What's up, Coach? How was practice? First, I always got to ask you about practice. I know you had practice today.
Yeah, you know what? We were off today because we had a big weekend. We had a big league game on Saturday at home, and then yesterday we had a big showcase here with all the top New England prep schools. So they got the day off, but they'll be back at it chopping wood tomorrow.
when you start giving people the day off, you done got nice. You done got nice.
What happened, Coach? I got old.
It-
I got
it
old and I
took-
got smarter.
Hey James, because in 2006, I don't know if you was giving guys day off. But I'm just teasing you. I'm just teasing you. But man, Coach, we thanks for having you on. And this is a topic I want to explore for years. And I was talking to Jason about that. Because one thing people in Chicago always say, well, maybe we can go to prep school. Maybe we could do this. And I tell people all the time, it's not that easy going to prep school. So talk to us a little bit about South Kent. I know about South Kent. And talk to us about your team a little bit first.
I tell you, I think one of the biggest misnomers out there in the community about basketball is the name prep school, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of people call their schools prep school because they have a prep basketball or a prep football or soccer program, but the schools in New England are college preparatory schools.
Mm.
That's what they were first founded on, to help kids go to college, to prepare you for college. So the piece of prep in South Kent, when they say prep school, that's just abbreviating preparatory school. We are a school first. And I think that's a big misnomer out there.
Mhm.
So when kids come to the New England boarding schools, the expectation is for you to be a student and an athlete, not just to come to a place for a year to hone your athletic skills. Hope that answered the question about the prep school.
No, you did.
Yeah.
You did perfect. Because like you said, Coach, I think one of the things, like you said, when they mention prep schools, sometimes they think of a little building with nothing else around there. You guys actually are a certified school with buildings and students. So how long has South Kent been into existence, Coach?
Well, we're about to hit the centennial next year,
Mm.
so almost 100 years now. You've been here when you were recruiting at SMU. This is a college campus. There are a lot of Division threes and Division two schools who would love to have campuses like these. And we have dormitories. We have all the facilities that a college would have, hence college preparatory school.
And how much does it cost close to go to South Kent?
For a full pay traditional student, this year, 2022, 2023, 24, to be $62,500.
Woo, Lord, Coach, they ain't just prepping them education-wise, they prepping them for college tuition.
Yeah, absolutely. These are serious enterprises, and when families, when they commit to having their kids come to these places, they're making somewhat, obviously not everyone's paying the full price, but people are paying enough that the families know that it's an investment towards the next 4 years or the next. I mean, some kids come as freshmen and they're here for 4 years, and it's a commitment for 8 years for families.
Wow. Man, they mommy and daddy love them, Lance Irvin.
They do. Hey, Coach, now talk to us about the recruiting aspect of recruiting kids to attend the prep school. Because like I said earlier, a lot of people from Chicago, they're quick to say we can go to a prep school. I'm like, no, they looking for student athletes too. So talk to us about what goes into looking for a student athlete.
Well, we're looking for student athletes, and you know the league that we play in is the top prep school league in the country, NEPSAC Class AAA, and the NEBL circuit we have. So most of the coaches at this level have either been a college coach, they've been head coaches for 35, 40 years, and they recruit just like colleges. And obviously they're not able to get out all the time like college coaches, but the best prep school coaches are going to be out at the top events. They're going to be at AAU events in the spring and summer. They're going to be at high school games during the year, and also obviously utilize the college coaching contacts and the scouting services just like college coaches. So it's a serious thing. And again, I think we spend a fair amount of time when a really good basketball player reaches out to you. You have to make sure that they know more about. You have to educate them on that. If you come here, the expectation is for you to be a student who plays basketball, not a basketball player who sometimes wants to be a student.
So when you're looking for student athletes, Coach, what type of student athletes are you looking for in terms of, do you have to be a good student? Do you have to have grades? Do you have to have a certain grade point average? What qualities are you looking for?
I think to me, the biggest quality is how hard they work at it as a student. As you know, there are some students, they're going to work as hard as they can in the classroom, do everything outside the classroom, and get extra work, and the best they can get is a C. You know, and for me, I tell kids when we recruit them, if they happen to be that kid, when you come here, I expect you to be the best C student in America, you know? But because if you're trying to be the best C student you're going to be, perhaps you end up being B minus and B. So for me, the number one aspect, are you serious about it? You know, do you have the self-awareness to acknowledge who you are as a student and maybe understand that if you really commit to it, like you commit to the time on the court, that you all of a sudden are going to find out that you are a very good student and get good grades as a consequence of your work ethic.
Coach, can you tell us a little bit about the players in terms of where they come from, what type of socioeconomic backgrounds a lot of these players come from to go to prep schools as well?
Yeah, it's a wide variety. You know, it's really wide variety. I believe when Coach Irvin there recruited Papa Dia to SMU, I think that particular team, I think I might have 7 kids from foreign countries. You know, one thing for me, I've always tried to, on every team I have someone from Africa. You know, that's just one of my missions, is to help kids from that country have the opportunity to come and use basketball as a way to take care of their families for the rest of life. Because oftentimes the world doesn't know, oftentimes in those countries, those kids are more serious students because their parents are thinking, boy, you're not going out there and playing soccer or basketball. You need to buckle down and do your schoolwork. You know, and so oftentimes those kids, when they're given the opportunity to get here, they usually take full advantage of that, especially the classroom aspect of it. And then, you know, my teams typically have, you know, I've been all over the country coaching, and, you know, I've worked at Nike and worked in grassroots basketball. So I'm going to have kids from all over the country, definitely in areas. I'm from the DMV. I always have kids from the DMV, I have kids from Seattle, California, you name it. It just depends on that particular year.
And my fault, Lance. Let me get one quick follow-up to that. Because you would say something that I've always found very interesting about the prep school. So you're located in Connecticut, but like you just said, you got kids coming from Seattle, California. And these are young people, 15, 16 years old in many situations, and they're now a 5-hour flight away from home. How do you deal with the homesickness that I'm sure they have to deal with?
Well, it's just like when I was in college and when I was at the University of Washington, we had a top player who was from 10 minutes away, literally 10 minutes away, got homesick. So the parents, you're gonna get homesick 10 minutes away to 5 hours away. You know, that's part of the process because you're used to mama and daddy or whoever your guardian or the people you're around being able to comfort you every minute of the day if you need it. So that's just part of the process. But what I really tell people is that whether you come to South Carolina or not, send your child to someone that you would send them to if they didn't play basketball. If there was some other reason they need to go, that you can trust them with your child. And also, it's a great opportunity because oftentimes the kids leave these prep schools, if they come out differently than what they came in and take advantage of everything, when they go to college, life is so much easier for them and the coaches that they go to. You know, I've had so many coaches call me like, when Isaiah Thomas went to Washington, you know, I've known Lorenzo Romar for 20 years before he went to Washington. He called me like, yo, what did you do to Zeke? He said, this dude is 20 minutes early for everything. He doesn't miss anything. He's on top of every single thing. And I was like, Coach, he went to college for 2 years here.
Yeah, like the guys that you coached here, right? We had Pop, of course. We had Mike Walker too, Jason, and those guys.
Who is now the associate athletic director of fundraising at The Ohio State.
That's what I was going to say. They're really good people, Jay, and they played hard. Like Mike showed up for practice every day. He was well coached, fundamentally, Jay, and he was smart. And he went to all his classes too. And I attribute that to him being around coach and learning stuff. But let me ask you this, Coach. You coached in college also, right?
Yeah.
Coach Villanova, East Carolina. What in the world did you come back to college? Talk to us about that.
Why did I go back to prep school?
Right. Prep school.
Well, I mean, prep school. You know, I've always been one that loves challenges in life, right? And you know the deal, once you start to approach 50, you start looking at the world. You know, when we're younger, we look at it from a very, very myopic standpoint. We're looking at one eye, you know, and as you get older, you look at it from binocular vision. and I have a now 15-year-old daughter who that, in college, I grew up without parents. My father was never in my house. My mother was died in a car accident when I was 14. And so as a college coach, I never got to spend the type of time that I want to spend with my daughter. I think it's different if I had a son, but she's at a critical stage in her development that I want to be able to support her volleyball. I want to be able to support when she goes to dance. And working at these places, we're very busy, just like college coaches, but she goes to school 5 minutes from me. So I can get out and do the things with her and be a dad, not just coach. I don't want my child to come home and I don't want ever to call me Coach Chill. I want her to call me dad. I want her to call me dad. So that had a major part. And then personally, this is my baby. I built this program. I started the high level basketball program here, and it went on well for a while when I left, but then it went downhill. And we have some proud alums. You come in our gym, there's a wall full of NBA guys up on the wall, and so many more high level college players whose banners are on the wall. And they would call me for 2 and 3 years and say, Coach, man, you got to go back. You got to go back and fix it. And it came to the point that it was just lined up perfectly where I was, where I wanted to be with my daughter, and it's like it's a perfect marriage right now.
Wow. See, there you go, Lance. Another one. I got another one's daughter who came over to volleyball. Boy, we just getting all you basketball coaches' kids.
So Tim, just in case your daughter watching, what's her name and what position, if you don't mind me asking? What position? Because we have volleyball coaches on the show. Yep. What position?
Her name is Zaya Joy Chilius. Zaya means victorious woman in the Tibetan language. She's a 5'11", 10th grader outside hitter. Yeah, she can either hand, so she'll play on both sides.
Okay, so she won them jumpers, Lance. She got a vertical.
She don't have the bounce I like yet. That means kangaroo in my neighborhood.
There you go. See, she one of the ones when I'm reffing, I gotta watch her, make sure she ain't back row blocking and doing all this. She play all around, Coach?
Yeah, right now she's jumping quick like a rabbit. She ain't bouncing like a kangaroo yet.
Okay. All right. Well, she does sophomore. She'll get there. She'll get there in a couple of years. Go ahead, man.
She'll get there.
Coach, just thinking about this, right? Oftentimes lately they've been saying our guys from the U.S. is not as skilled as the overseas players. And you've been all over looking at players and you help develop and get them better. What's your thoughts about our players skill-wise versus players from overseas that might come in a little bit more skilled? What's your thoughts on that?
I think 5-6 years ago, I would say I would agree with that 100%. But I think a lot of people in our country took offense to that. And now it's almost to the point where we have to slow them down. There's getting the skills, and then there's going out there doing circus training. Circus. There's kids who are getting out there with people who never played the game. It's hard for me to get gritty with somebody that's never been gritty. So I would say our kids are becoming more skilled, but we have to make sure that they're getting skills that transfer to actually what you do in a game of basketball. I see a lot of kids that go to workouts and say, hey, you got to watch me with my trainer. And I actually had a trainer ask me one day, and this is my strength and my weakness, Jason. I'm going to tell you the truth, whether it hurts or not. I'm going to tell you the truth. And I had a trainer ask me, say, Coach, he did a big thing in front of a bunch of kids. Said, Coach, what'd you think about that? I said, if you want clients and applause, that's the best thing I've ever seen. I said, but everything you just did is none of it's going to apply in a basketball game. If a kid does 3 and 4 dribbles in the same spot, the defender's just going to sit on them. And there's 4 other defenders with all their eyes on him who are going to load up in the paint. He's not going anywhere. So I think our kids are becoming more skilled. We just have to make sure that those skills are transferable to the actual game.
See, like you said, transferable to the actual game. I talked to Marcus Liberty a couple of weeks ago, and Lib is doing skills training, and him and I was talking about this also. We don't mind people having trainers because you're a very good trainers, Coach. I seen you work. Yep. I seen how your stuff translate to the game and stuff like that. But how should people really go about picking a trainer? Because a lot of people don't know. Do you have any information how you should pick a trainer?
How does the athletic director choose a coach of their program? What does their resume say? do I have an opportunity to come and watch you work someone out? You know, and not just the kid watching, but can I bring a coach that I believe understands the game of basketball to watch one of your workouts to make sure we're doing things that help me be able to compete. Everyone's trying to get to a next level. That next level may be NIA, JUCO, Division III, Division II, and you have to make sure you're choosing someone who A, has experience. Have they ever had a Division III player? Have they ever had a Division I player? And they're talking about they training pros. I mean, pros they have. And who are those pros? Were those pros names called on the draft night and then you never saw them again? Or did the pros stick in the league? You know, I think all those type of things you have to look at and just not jump on, well, because such and such down the street is working out with him, that's the guy for me or the lady for me. You know, I'm all for it, really. I'll tell you what, there's no joke. When I came up, my older sister was one of the ones that raised me. She didn't let me watch men's college basketball one year. She made me watch women's college basketball back in the day because they weren't as athletic. They were more skilled, and I actually watched and learned how to play. And I am a proponent of young boys, teenage boys, going to a female trainer who's trained all female basketball players because I know they're going to put skill work in there. You know, not just based upon how athletic I am, but this is what's going to translate. Do you know how to 2-foot jump stop and pivot and pass the ball? You know, how many games do you watch where every time somebody drives to the basket, it's a charge?
Exactly.
You know, Lance, you're a college coach.
Exactly.
You know, once you get to college, 1-foot dunk is in a fast break. You go 1.5 foot court in a college game, it's a charge.
Exactly.
The teams have been coached and know how to rotate. So I think all that needs to be in account. But I'm not knocking trainers because I think there's a bunch of great trainers out there. I'm just like, tells me they have 600 kids they're working with, I might pause for a second and take a look. I might want to go and work with the guy or the lady who has 6 or 10 regular, loyal people, and I go watch their games, and those kids are balling out.
Yeah, and I appreciate you talking about this, Coach Chill, and this is one of the reasons why we have What's Up, because we get to have conversations with our guests, not necessarily interviews, and we get to talk about some real stuff. And one of the things Lance and I have talked about many a times, no matter what sport your child is playing, that they are connected with people who are professional, people who are ethical, people who have your child's best interest as a human being at heart, and who also know what the heck they're talking about. You are a USA Basketball Gold licensed coach. Talk to me a little bit about what that title means.
Well, USA Basketball, to me, especially over the last 10 to 15 years, if people don't go to these clinics and stuff around the country, they are missing out on. The USA Basketball is the ones who stripped it back from the NBA on down to kids learning the game the right way. You know, and from one of the standpoints that I've always believed in, you know, when my daughter played basketball when she was younger, I don't believe kids should be running plays up to like 6th and 7th grade. They need to learn how to play. I remember my daughter's coach, I went to the practice and I always went to practice as dad. I never coach, you know, to the point where my daughter was like, hey, Dad, you can cheer for us, you know, but I just want to be quiet. But one day he asked me, he said, Coach, what do you think about this baseline inbounds play? She was in the 4th grade. And I said, Coach, every time you run it, the ball gets turned over. I said, they need to learn how to play, concept, space and play a lot of 3-on-3, you know, that type of stuff. And I think that's what USA Basketball does. But getting back to your real question at hand, there's a process. You have to go on and get licensed by taking tests and watching footage on, first of all, Safe Sport. You know, Safe Sport is, you know, who's around these kids. You know, you have to pass a background check. You have to, it's just not, you're not going to go out there and be around people's children when USA Basketball is part. They're going to do background checks. But there's a lot of education that goes along with the USA Basketball thing. And that's why I was, actually, I got to renew. It's that time of year. But I think USA Basketball definitely the last 10 to 15 years, probably even before then, has made it their number one priority to teach basketball the right way and have the right people involved in basketball, not just Pookie who wants to go and pick up everybody's kids and teach them hoops.
Right. Well, you know, and that's why I asked the question, because, you know, Lance and I have often experienced people who get this title of coach. And, you know, I've coached girls softball, I've coached girls and boys basketball. And I take it real serious. You know, I took that title seriously when I did that, because we all know if you're a coach, you're really also the psychologist, the sociologist, sometimes the dad, sometimes the brother, sometimes the uncle, sometimes you got to feed people. There's a lot that comes with that. And you have to have ethics in order to take that title. It's a really serious title, and I took it very seriously. And you know, like you being the USA volleyball official, I have to take the Safe Sport course every year. I just did mine a couple of weeks ago, because, you know, we have to protect these children from, unfortunately, the people, you know, sexual predators get around children. They get them as teachers, as coaches, as referees, and all this type of stuff. So we have to take this seriously. So that's why I wanted to ask you that question. We got to take a quick commercial break, Coach. We're going to be
I just have one
seconds.
quick thing with that one, though. It's also to protect you as a coach. You know, because some of the things you do as a coach that you would naturally do could get you in trouble inadvertently. Like, you learn about, man, don't be alone to have certain conversations with children.
That's right.
You know, you're right. It's to protect all involved.
All involved. I agree. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're coming right back with Coach Chill. We got a few more minutes of conversation and a few more questions with him. You are watching What's Up, Cuz?
Operator 901, where's the emergency?
127 Brymere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushrooms.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency line.
Do you know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, it looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz? I'm your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lancey Irvin, and we're joined by the other coach, Raphael Chill, is with us today, joining us from Connecticut. And Lance has got a couple more questions for you. Then I got a real good one for you too, Coach.
Okay, Jay. Because you know what, Jay? See, when you beat Brewster Academy, see, you real hot these days. And I know Coach Phone is blowing off the hook. But talk to me about, Coach, how when college coaches come in. Say if you have a guy that thinks he's a Pac-10 player, but he's probably a little bit lower than that. How would you handle that conversation?
You're on mute, Coach. Yep, you might have muted yourself during the commercial break there.
Can you hear us? Try to take yourself off mute. Yeah, his screen got mute. Can you mute?
Yeah, you're on mute. I think you muted yourself.
Still on mute? Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's the part where I told him one of my greatest strengths and weaknesses are that I'm going to tell you the truth. I think my track record, I think a lot of people listen to it more so than they would listen to other people because I've coached at this level. I've coached at the college level. I've had 22 pros that I've coached between here and college. And, it's not a knock, and it's not where you start, it's where you stop, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you are a Pac-12 level player in your mind and you go to a lower level, you're going to be a all league player,
Mm-hmm.
So go to that place where you're going to, my whole thing is go where you're going to play, don't go where you have the name on your chest. There's nothing wrong with the guys who're going to clap for 4 years on the bench, but the guys who think they're that good, they're not going to be happy going somewhere and clapping, right? So let's choose something. First of all, the first thing I do is, would you go to this school if you didn't play basketball?
Mm-hmm.
Is that staff, are the guys on that team, are they people you want to be if you go there and you break your back and you can never play again? Is that where you want to be? And then we'll move on to, can you actually play there? What do I see your future looks like, knowing, coaching you every day, what your work ethic is, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses, and the piece that I have that a lot of coaches don't have. A lot of people know these college coaches from when they come to their place to recruit them. I've coached against them. I know them from being on the road talking to coaches. So sometimes what they tell you is not what it is, and I'm going to tell you what it is.
See, and Chill, this another problem that we have here. I don't know if you have this problem. Like, say you were South Kent, you know everybody, coach, and I'm not blowing his head up, Jay. So, at some point in time, you probably have 100 or so coaches, a huge number of coaches come in and watch your kids play. Sometimes, coach, they get mad because after 100 people come in the gym to watch you play, like, coach, you told me you was gonna help me get a scholarship. I'm like, if we bring 100 coaches in to watch you play, some of that is on you. But that's all I'm saying. But do you ever have that?
I've had that conversation with people like, you're telling me you can play in the ACC. I've had every ACC coach come in this gym multiple occasions this fall to watch open gym, forget practice.
Mm-hmm.
And not one of them has asked me about you. But all these NEC or American East coaches ask me about you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably a pretty good indication where you are today.
Good point. But tell me this now. Since you think you're a great trainer, I don't know. Talk to me about the Chill Factory. Now, have you opened up your own training place?
Yeah, well, it's for the summer and the spring because, I want kids to have an opportunity, whether they're good or they're trying to be a pro, to have the opportunity to, again, get in the gym, be with someone who's done it, and is going to teach you the things you need to do and become later on, in your career. I train every kid, whether you can play or not, in my opinion, like you're a pro. And that means I'm giving you pro nuggets, pro effort on my part, so that you have the tool set to go back when you're working on your own or with your team or your trainer, that you're going to do things that really apply, that's going to help you be able to move on in basketball. And I also use it as a platform. Now I'm older, right? That mentorship for young coaches and coaches of coaches, and I come in and speak to people about, I've seen this game from almost every angle, that I can help people just be better at what you do, especially from the leadership component as a coach.
Well, coach, if you can help people get better about what they do, you watch a lot of games, right? You're like, well, what's your thought about the alternative uniforms? Like, do you like the colorful uniforms? Because my cousin Jason over there, he hates like all these NBA alternate uniforms. Do the kids of South Kent want flash and style, coach?
I think we're in that generation where the louder, the flashy it is, they love it. But as you know, playing for me to come back is a throwback. We are raw meat and gunpowder how we play, bloody knuckles how we look. So I am. You call me old school, out of touch, but I'm vanilla as it comes with these. Now our black uniforms, they hot now, but they're not out there looking like we out there playing on the moon somewhere. Because in all honesty, I worked for Lorenzo Romar, and he taught me this deal big time about players. Is that, are you doing a hey look at me, or you doing a hey look at we? And the hey, look at me says, I want to wear a headband when no one else has one. You know, hey, look at me says, let's just wear the craziest stuff out there about, let's have when people show up, let's have them talk about us because how we played the game. And that's just my personality, you know.
Gotcha. Let me ask you this, Coach. You mentioned earlier that your daughter plays volleyball. You know, we go through different trends in sports. For, you know, a long time it was you got to pick a sport, concentrate on this one at 14, 15-year-old and go from there. I never subscribed to that philosophy because of people like Jim Brown, who was a great lacrosse player in addition to a football player, right? Will Chamberlain was a hell of a volleyball player and a basketball player. What advice do you have for parents these days when you have coaches who really want the kid to just focus on just that one sport? And what sports do you think are also excellent cross-training sports for basketball players?
Good question.
Well, I'm like you. I came up where, you know, I had the conflict in high school where in the spring I was playing baseball, running track, and doing AAU. You know, so I had to have agreements with my track coach that I might miss track practice because I'm going with the baseball team today, or I might miss baseball because I'm at track practice. You know, I was one of those kids, and all the people I grew up with, that we did everything. You know, however, that's not what the clientele wants today, right? Especially, you know, when we're at these boarding schools and stuff, a lot of clientele, people are, as you know, parents these days are living a little more vicariously through their children than we grew up, you know, and whether they're playing $5 or $100,000 a year, you know, this is a, you know, fast food type of economy where people want to see a quick return on their investment. So I kind of understand their mindset. However, you know, I think the most dynamic athletes are people who do other things. You know, for instance, our point guard, hopefully, you know, he's definitely McDonald's candidate for sure. But, you know, he's only been playing basketball at this level for just barely 4 years. He was an All-American level lacrosse player, you know, and I believe his court vision is a function of that, you know, and I believe that lacrosse, I don't know if you've ever been around lacrosse coach close up, but when I was at a prep school, West Nottingham Academy, many years ago, I watched lacrosse and I was in awe of it. And so I went to the coach, who was a former All-American at Navy and all that stuff. It's just like basketball. They run pick and roll. They run all that stuff.
Wow.
So there's a lot of crossover there. You know, I think football, there's a lot of crossover, especially when you come to my program, there's toughness with that, you know. But I just think there's so many sports, track, you name it, volleyball for guys too. Volleyball is a great crossover sport because volleyball, I don't know if there's a more communicative sport that's played. You go to a volleyball game and there's nonstop talking. What do we want our guys to do in basketball and defense? Talk. You know, I tell our guys, if we don't talk together, we'll certainly die together. You know, so I think there's a lot of crossover, and there's something to be said for those kids who want to try other things. And I would never prevent one of my players outside of basketball season to try something else.
Yeah, I know for me, you know, when I coached basketball, my best shot blocker ever and greatest rebounder was a volleyball player. And
he didn't foul. He didn't foul. He blocked shots.
He didn't foul nobody. His timing was impeccable. Right.
He the ball out the air.
Right. He wouldn't go for a shot fake because he knew he was so quick off his feet. It didn't matter what you did because he could time it so well. And I was like, damn, boy, these kids need to be playing volleyball in our community.
Greyhound training. See ball, get ball. Period.
Hey, let me ask you this, Chill. I only got a couple more questions. What advice would you give somebody that's looking for a prep school?
I would say do your research, really have an understanding of what you're looking for in totality before you get on the phone and start reaching out to people. You know, and there are a lot of people who want to help you, but don't go to a prep school because your boy said go there, you know, or this coach said go there. Do your own research. And, you know, I just like when I was a college coach, every prep school is not for every person, you know, and so give yourself an opportunity to look at a few that that meets all the criteria that you're looking for. And then when you walk away, man, if something happens to me and I'm not as good as this guy thinks I am, is he still going to look out for me? Is he still going to go to college counseling office every day and help me go to college, whether I play basketball or not? You know, you have to have people who, at the end of the day, it's not how much they know, it's how much they care. That's the most important thing to me. Choose a community where you're going to go and you know they care about you, regardless if your name is the best player in the country or not.
And talk to me about your fishing game, right? Somebody told me you could fish. I don't know. See, my cousin Jason think he can fish and do
I know
all
I
that
don't.
stuff.
My wife can fish. I can't.
You think he can fish? Talk to me, Coach, about your fishing game.
It's a different level, man. It's like I got ponds here, I got a lake. If you come see me in the summer, and I'm not in my office, you're gonna find me down there fishing. You know, that's a great transferable sport for a coach. Decompress. To go decompress. You know, you have two choices. You can catch the fish, you can jump in and be one. You know, depends on what you need that day.
I can imagine that. I can imagine fishing is great for coaching because you're like, I'm out here by myself. Ain't nobody yelling at me. I ain't got to worry about nobody telling me how come I ain't getting no more playing time. Oh, yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad it's not during the season because every now and then you might go down there and say, I'm jumping in, I'm coming out.
See, that's why I had to ask you this. And let me say this before I let you get off the show. What you do for the kids, Chills, man, is remarkable. I appreciate everything you do for them, stuff you did to help me and my family. I appreciate that. And if anything I ever need for you to do, man, let me know. That's why I had to have you on the show. Because people don't understand what goes into being a prep school player and a prep school coach. That's why I had to get you on the show. But I'm still mad at you because you didn't come work with us at SMU. I'm still mad at you about that. I'm still mad at you. I don't forgive you for that. I don't forgive you, Jay. I'm still mad at him. I'm still mad at you.
Well, I still had work to do, you know. and to be honest, Jay, he asked me first time, there's no hesitation, you know, and you know. Yeah. I'll be quite candid. Lance and I have had conversations. I don't think we help each other enough. Meaning the capital WEBLACK. You know, there's a lot of people who are going to verbalize it in public and want people to hear that. But behind the scenes, are you who you say you are? Are you doing what you're going to do? Are you truly selfless? If Coach Irvin calls me tomorrow and a job is open somewhere and I know the coach and he asked me to call, I'm calling. I'm not gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna call and ask for myself. You know, and that's something I stand on. I gotta go to sleep every night and wake up in the morning, look at myself and say, man, did I do what I told that guy I'm gonna do? That's how I live my life, and that's how I try to teach our guys to live their life. Just do what you say you're gonna do, and do it with passion, and do it with love, and be selfless. Be a servant leader. That's all I ask of them.
Love it. Love it. Great way to end this. Great way to end this. Coach Shields, thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to you on the rest of your season. And be safe out there. And tell your daughter, just keep on hitting the ball. Just keep on jumping into it. Keep swinging, girl.
Playing in Chicago and learn how to play.
There you go.
Hey, Tim, exactly. And if she's on the AAU circuit, if she sees my cousin, if he's reffing the game and she doesn't get a call, call me and let me know.
Immediately, real time.
All right, sounds good. Coach Raphael, Chills, everybody. Thanks a lot. All right.
I appreciate you.
Appreciate you being here. All right. So, Lance, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then you and I are going to come back. We got to talk about brother Kevin Warren taking over the Chicago Bears, and we got to have some conversation about some chicken. Some conversation about some chicken is also coming up. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be right back. You are watching What's Up, Cuz.
At a time when the news seems as subjective as the partisan politics dividing this country, independent professional journalism has become the resource people need to get the honest and accurate information for their lives. That's why I created JGortonReports.com. As a born and raised Chicagoan, I know this city better than anyone. So my investigative stories are all original, and they'll go deeper to expose the truth by using information obtained from public information databases and in-depth interviews with the movers and shakers. My Future Stories will introduce you to people and businesses who are changing the world, not just Chicago. My Missing Person Stories will spotlight those who you don't hear about in the mainstream media who are often overlooked. If you want to hear my personal views on things around the world, check out my blog site, which is based off of factual information and my life experiences. There's also past episodes of my weekly sports podcast show, What's Up Cuz, that I host with my real-life cousin, Lance Irvin. So if you're looking for all this information and more, check out jcoydenreports.com and follow me on Twitter at jcoyden.
Not again. Stop!
Welcome back, everybody, to What's Up, Cuz. I am your host, Jason Palmer, along with my cousin, the coach himself, Lancey Irvin, and we just had a great conversation with your guy, Coach Raphael Chills. I hope you all really enjoyed all the knowledge that he shared in that conversation we just had about prep schools. That's something we have been wanting to talk about for a while, and we try to find the best people we can to actually talk about it, and someone who's really been involved in it for a long time.
He's been involved with it for a long time, Jay. Once again, he coaches at South Kent Preparatory School in Connecticut. You see, he said preparatory school, but the emphasis is on education. And when he said it costs $65,000 a year, you said, "Oh, they prepping for college."
College tuition for real.
Forget
what's going on in the classroom.
That was it. He gave us some great information, and his prep school team, like I said, Jay, is really good. He has 6 or 7 Division I players this year. He keeps Division I players, and you see how he said they recruit like we recruit in college. So people, I'm going to prep school. I'm going to prep school. Well, prep school is not for everybody, and you're going to have to pay a little money to go to some prep schools, Jay. Most of them, the ones in New England that he's talked about, I've been to Brewster, been to South Kent, I've been to Winchendon, I've been to Maine, I've been to those, Jay. They're brick and mortar schools, they're buildings with students that concentrate on education. So shouts out to my man Chills. And Jay, we almost had another guest, but our boy, next week, we're going to have my boy YB on, Young Ballers TV. If you haven't heard of YB, you're in for a treat, Jay.
Yes, you are.
All the high school games, grammar school games, he's filming games, talking crazy. All the kids call him, jump on his live, jump on the show. So I said, okay, we need to get YB on the show. It's so bad, Jay, I can't even think his real name. Everybody call him YB. Like, man, YB in the gym, YB in the gym.
Yeah.
So just having him on the show, but
yeah,
Jay, Chills was great. You asked some really good questions, cuz I'm gonna give you some credit.
Sometimes I'm a professional journalist, so Mondays it all depends. I've only been drinking water today, so I'm kind of on my game. So hey, but let's talk chicken. We need to talk some chicken.
Harold's with mild sauce.
Harold's with mild sauce. We need to talk about that. Because I am no longer obligated, Sean Sierra, to give this man any damn chicken because Georgia kicked the crap out of TCU. 65-7 in the national championship game. So I no longer owe Lance Irvin no damn chicken. He was talking all that crap about how TCU was going to win the game, and they went out there and got stoned.
You know what, Jay? I must have been sick that day and took some Benadryl and was on a Benadryl high. I couldn't have picked TCU over Georgia. It's like, Jay, you know what? That was it. I think my allergies flared up, and I took too many Benadryl tablets. So I can't remember. I was all over the place that day because I know my black butt didn't sit here and pick TCU. I couldn't have. Over Georgia, I must have lost my mind.
You did. Yeah, you must have been taking something because when you said it, I was like, oh, I got him now. I'm about to get rid of all my chickens that I owe to Clancy Irvin. We are back to even, my friend.
Was in 3 chicken dinners with you, but I want to say this. How about those Cowboys? That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave that alone. Hey, AJ, I've listened to Stephen A. Smith today. That man said Dak Prescott lost to the last pick in the draft. A 7th pick rookie he lost to. I'm like, come on, Stephen, they stopped it. But anyway, I had to go off on that.
Well, we're going to talk NFL here. The Cowboys, this has been a knock on Dak Prescott his entire career. Can he win the big game? Can he do this? Can he do that? Some of it is just, talk because football is a team sport. He's not out there playing defense. He ain't out there on special teams. But the quarterback is the most scrutinized position in all of sports. And, you got to either put up or shut up. You got to either lead your team to victory or you are a failure. That's just what comes with the job qualifications, I guess, in football. So, he beat a terrible Tampa Bay team. I listened to Shannon Sharp's comments more than Stephen A's. And he was like, this is who Dak has been all year. He can look great like he did in some games, like he did at Tampa, or he can look terrible like he did the last week of the regular season in Washington. And Dallas is going to have some questions. They're going to have some, because, see, I kind of feel like Dallas is kind of in purgatory. They're in football purgatory, which is the last place you want to be, because we've now seen over a number of seasons where they're good enough to get to the playoffs, maybe win a game, but they ain't no Super Bowl quality franchise. And Cowboys fans don't want to hear that because we them boys, blah, 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 blah. Y'all ain't won a Super Bowl since the 90s.
Jay, how can you beat them boys? Them boys was Michael Irvin, Deion Sanders, Troy Aikman, and the fellas, Leon Lett.
Exactly.
That was them boys.
Right.
That was those boys. And I actually like the Cowboys. I used to live in Dallas, so you pull for the Cowboys. And like you said, Jay, you can't continue to go to the first round and lose. You at least got to make it to the divisional championship with all those weapons, CD Lamb and everybody they had, right?
Right.
And I know it's about timing, and nobody understands time better than the man upstairs. But that was a golden opportunity they had yesterday, Jay. You have both the first string quarterback hurt, their second string quarterback hurt. And Dak threw, I want to say, 2 interceptions inside the 20, if I'm not mistaken, because I watched that game. I was really pulling for Dak. I said, you always want, at least me in that situation, no offense, but I want the African-American quarterback to make it and win the Super Bowl, because I knew he was going to get scrutinized if they didn't win. And I'm like, I like Dak, and I want him to win that game. But like you said, though, Jay, you defined on, can you get your team over the hump? Can you get them to the next round? Can you get them to that level? So, I feel for Dak and I feel for the Cowboys, but I don't know about Jerry Jones now. I don't really feel for Jerry.
Well, see, I was going to go there. I don't like that man. I don't like that man. So, I don't care if the Cowboys ever win. I do not like that man as a human being. I think he is a horrible person. And, if y'all want to roll with them, fine. And I'm not saying any of these NFL owners are great human beings and persons, but some are just worse than others. And to me, he's one of the worst of the worst. Wow. And I don't like the company that he keeps and the people who he rolls with. I don't like how he his response to African-American players wanting to kneel after the George Floyd and Breonna Taylor murders. So I don't care about Jerry Jones at all. I used to like the Cowboys growing up too, because I was not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. And it was always the Cowboys and the Steelers, and I always, like the Cowboys. I pulled for the Cowboys. And, Jimmy Johnson used to coach at the U. I loved Jimmy, and I loved him when he coached them boys. But I also understand that's his boy. But Jerry Jones has shown me enough throughout the years to know that he is a despicable human being. And anytime he loses, I am going to celebrate. So, too damn bad, Jerry Jones. That's what you get.
You know what, Jay? But let me tell you what else I love. I love the Cowboys. When I coached at Texas A&M, God bless his soul, me and my man Lou Hill was in the club in Dallas.
Okay. Oh, Lord.
And about 6 or 7 of the Cowboys was in there. And let me say this. Those young men knew how to party. The club closed there too. And me and Lou knew some of the Cowboys. So me and Lou was about to get up and leave there. It's like, where y'all going? It's like, no. It's over for them. It ain't over for y'all. Woo! Jay, it ain't over for y'all. I like the way they got down. Woo, that's all
Okay. Oh, there's a Lance Irvin story I wasn't expecting. There you go.
They knew how to party, Jay. Woo, that's all I'm going to say.
Okay, well, yes. Congratulations once again to the Georgia Bulldogs, national champions, after they defeated TCU 65-7, and they cleared my Harold's Chicken debt with my cousin Lance Irvin. I was able to beat him twice. I told him and Sean that the Bears were going to beat the Patriots this year, and it happened. So I won chicken back on that one, and then I evened it up with this one here. Also in the NFL playoffs, Patrick Mahomes, though, he got a high ankle sprain. That is like not good news for Kansas City as they get ready to play Cincinnati this week. Your thoughts on the Chiefs' chances with a definitely not going to be 100% Patrick Mahomes, may not even play Patrick Mahomes.
I hate that he's hurt, right? But one thing we know about Patrick Mahomes, and when you a really good athlete, those guys some kind of way, Jay, have a knack for getting better quicker than most athletes, or they find a way playing with pain. So with that being said, I'm expecting him to play. Hopefully he can be a little bit more mobile than I think he can, because the Cincinnati Bengals defense is pretty good. It was pretty good yesterday too. And they will come at him. So with that being said, Jay, if he's injured and he can't move around a little bit, it's going to be lights out for the Kansas City Chiefs. And also, I'm pulling for Eric Bieniemy too. I'm pulling for him to make it to another Super Bowl. And Jay, that man been on 15 job interviews. And I know it takes the man upstairs to get you a job. But he didn't interview for 15 teams, from what I'm hearing. I don't understand, Jay, why he can't get a head coaching job. That's just, I'm not trying to get sidetracked, but it's just something that just came across my mind. It's tough.
Yeah, they keep doing well, maybe he doesn't interview well stuff. I'll be like, yeah, okay. So we will see what happens with that. Hey, over in the NFC Championship game, that's going to be a good one after Philadelphia beat the New York Giants. They will take on the San Francisco 49ers in the NFC Championship. And Mr. Irrelevant Brock Purdy, who I am loving, because I want them to give him the job so that the Dolphins can trade for Trey Lance. But my own personal views aside, this is going to be a hell of a game. This is going to be a hell of a game. Jalen Hurts leading the Eagles. He is what Sean is hoping Justin Fields will become in his next year with the Bears. There's definitely that potential for that to happen. This is going to be one hell of a game. And I don't know where I want to go with this one or who I think is going to win, but it just San Francisco, everything just seems to have fallen in place of them after that debacle at Soldier Field when they lost to the Bears in the monsoon and the new grass. It seems as though they've gotten their stuff together, and I can't go against the 49ers, so I'm going to pick San Fran over the Eagles now.
Well, how about we bet another heroes?
Oh, here we go.
I'm taking Jay. How can you go against Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles? I'm not going to do that. And let me tell you why I'm not going against him.
You don't want to take this bet. I just got out of debt.
Anytime, yeah. Are you gonna take it? And here's why. Do you remember the name Donovan McNabb? Have you heard
Yeah,
his name?
of course.
Have you heard of RG3?
Yeah,
Have you heard of Michael Vick?
yeah.
Who did Michael Vick and Donovan McNabb used to quarterback for?
The
Did they used
Philadelphia
to play for
Eagles.
the Eagles?
They did.
And Jalen Hurts played in that same situation, right?
And Randall Cunningham.
And Randall Cunningham. So for that alone, you think I'm going against history? That man making the Super Bowl. That man going to the Super Bowl. Anytime he's talking to those two gentlemen, they're on a TV show, they express how hard it is to play quarterback in the NFL, some of the things they had to go through, what they learned, and blah, 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 and that. I'm not going against that man, Jay.
So you're going to pick the city of brotherly love because you love the brothers that they had to play quarterback.
I love the brothers they had in the backfield. And I'm taking Jalen Hurts. I'm going over. I just feel something. So how about this? How about we bet a bucket of Harold's chicken instead of the usual 3 piece? How about a bucket?
Why are we raising the stakes to a bucket all of a sudden?
I'm gonna raise it because Jay, it's the NFL. It's only 4 teams left. 4 teams left. You taking San Francisco?
I just got out of chicken debt with you, man. You about to get me back in. I know I should walk away from this, but I'm gonna take it because I believe in San Francisco. I believe they have the best all-around team in all of NFL, and I think they are going to win the Super Bowl. So yes, I will go ahead and pick.
So you
I
taking?
will take 49.
So
I
you
will take
taking?
this bet.
So you thinking that other 2-3? That's a different 2-3 in that backfield. That's not the other. That's a different 2-3. So you think that 2-3 is MJ that's in that backfield? That's not MJ out there running the routes and running out the backfield. I like McCaffrey. McCaffrey is good. Hold on.
Cousin Lisa wants to
yeah. Okay.
She gonna bet me Lou Malnati's pizza that she's got. First of all, she knows I hate Lou Malnati's pizza.
What time? Stop.
I told you this.
Don't have me call Rick and try to get Rick on the show.
Cornbread, crusty pizza, which ain't no pizza. I can't stand it. I do like their salad though. They got a good salad.
Jay, that's blasphemy now.
Oh, it might be blasphemy, but it's the truth.
Jay, you talk. You know, Malnati is the family pizza. Stop going against the family.
I can't.
You going against the family pizza?
I can't do it, man.
Do you know? You know when
I'm Giordano's, man.
You know when your uncle was sick, he was feeding the nurses in the hospital free Lou Malnati pizza. You don't know that. You don't know that.
Why was Uncle Junior feeding the nurses?
You don't know that. Coach Rick used to come see Pops. He used to come with about 12 pieces. The nurse was so happy. There's like, Mr. Irvin, can you call your friend and see if you can bring us some pizza? And you know your uncle. You know your uncle loved the limelight.
Yes, he did.
Rick, how are you? Next thing you know, everybody on the 6th floor, whatever floor he was on, was eating pizza. You going against the family pizza. He's
not just the godfather of basketball. He's the godfather of pizza too.
Godfather pizza. Made the call. Rick could come with about 12 pizzas.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
I can't believe. Are you okay? You must take some Benadryl like I did. Sorry. Let me get back on title. I don't never want to hear you going against the family pizza restaurant, okay?
I can't. I'm sorry. Look, and now here comes Armando. I can't do it, y'all. I'm sorry. I cannot do it. I just cannot. I've tried it. People told me, oh, you got to do it. No way that I can't do it. And you know what's funny? Because whenever I ref these volleyball or the water polo tournaments, and like it's an all-day tournament, you know they bring us food. And you know what they always bring?
What they bring?
Lou Malnati's.
They bring the best. Please don't let Coach watch the show and send me a text because Coach gets sensitive about that.
And I'd be like, I'll take the salad, please.
Oh my goodness. Coach, I apologize. Coach Rick Malnati, if you listen to somebody listening to those, Coach, I apologize to you. I apologize for my cousin because he's lost his mind.
You and David Kaplan, boy. No, y'all love y'all Lou Malnati.
I'm going to have to call Coach after the show and apologize to you and your comments. Unbelievable.
All right, so there we go. So we have a bet. That I am taking the 49ers. Lance is taking the Eagles. Sean will record it for all of history so that we know who is doing what, and we will see what happens next week. It will either be I'm giving chicken, or Lance is giving chicken. Somebody's getting chicken, and then we will see what happens for the Super Bowl as well.
Or kind of like Lisa, I might want to change my bet to pizza. I know you like. I like Rick's. I like Lou's. So who's your favorite pizza place?
Giordano's.
Oh, so do we need to change this to pizza then?
Me and Derrick Rose, baby. Me and Derrick Rose roll with Giordano's.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we ain't changing the pizza.
Okay.
We changed the pizza. All right, cool. I like the deep dish spinach, by the way. That's my favorite. They call it, you know what? They call it Popeye. It's a Popeye pizza because it's all spinach and cheese.
And that Lou Mount Knowledge, they call that the Lou. So I want the Lou.
Okay, you say so. You say. All right, our next topic. We've been waiting to get on this one because we were off for Dr. Martin Luther King's holiday last week. And the Bears was just breaking news all over the damn place. I was like, oh, man, I wish I could go on, but I'm off for the holiday. But basically, brothers are running the Bears. Holy you know what.
Jason, can you please, I know you did a lot of research, but Kevin Warren left, Jay, for what he has done to help the Big Ten is unbelievable. That TV deal, Jay, that he shocked everybody with, set the bar for all the Power 5 conferences. I feel like during COVID, he did an excellent job. Out of COVID, with the TV deals, other things that he done from the revenue generating, from the revenue sharing standpoint, I think he did a good job. But Jay, I was shocked.
Yeah,
I was shocked because they kept that quiet and under the radar. Did you know he had an opportunity to get that job? Were you just as shocked as I was?
I was just as shocked as you were. I mean, his name had started coming up as a potential candidate, but I was like, okay, they doing the Rooney Rule thing. Mm-hmm. That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, they doing we gonna just throw a name of a brother out here just so they can't say, oh, it's the Bears, for the love of God. They ain't bringing no brother on to run things. I mean, we were all thinking that. We were all like, this will never happen. But our girl Tanisha Wade is pulling more strings than we think.
Hey, Tanisha Large, you need to get Tanisha on the show. Tanisha pulling up.
We gonna ask Tanisha how she doing this when she come on the show in a few weeks. But I was like, there's a brother running the Bears. I can't believe it. He a good family brother too. I posted the photos of his family on my Facebook page. His beautiful wife Gretchen. And his children, Powers, is his son's name. His daughter's name is, what's the young lady's name? I want to say it's Kiara, but don't quote me on that. He's got a beautiful family. His son is a tight end at Michigan State.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
I just couldn't, believe it. But Kevin Warren, man, he's a bad brother, man. When I listened to his press conference, I've talked to him. When I was at Referee Magazine, we had a good relationship with the Big Ten. So I may have talked to him over the phone very briefly, just kind of like as an introduction. But he was also in Minnesota at the same time I was in Minnesota. And he's the person who structured that deal for the Vikings to build that stadium in downtown Minneapolis.
Wow,
they also built their training facility in suburban Eagan, Minnesota. And he was the guy that did all that. So, it's a great hire by the Bears. It's one of the best moves they've made in a very long time. And then the question is, are they going to get out of the way and let him do what they brought him in to do?
Wow. I want to hear from you and Sean about this. If we could get Sean on.
Yeah.
Why is it such a great hire? I mean, explain to me why it's such a great hire.
I thought you'd never ask. Dude, this hire has me happy as a giddy little schoolgirl. Okay? This guy is the real deal for a lot of reasons. I don't know him personally, obviously, but if you look at his David Haw said this, and I don't think it's hyperbole. He said he might be the most qualified hire ever in the Bears organization.
I agree.
Wow.
Because think about it. I mean, all the head coaches, Ditka, he was a special teams coach. You think a lot of the other coaches they had were the hot candidates, the hot guy that knew they didn't come. The only other coach that they had a big time track record was John Fox. He had gone to 2 Super Bowls. Okay, hadn't won them, but he's still taken 2 teams to 2 Super Bowls in his second year with each of those teams. But if you look at this guy, he's been under multiple leadership. So he's been under multiple. He's been with different general managers. So he's got different presidents. So he's understood how he's got a wide variety of styles to choose from. Okay, sorry, that's one of my.
You get choked up emotionally, so into this.
No, I don't know if you. No, I know it was some stuff popping off in the background. I don't know if you heard it or not.
No, you're right. Go ahead.
Okay, this guy is. You talked about his situation with Minnesota. Well, he got the stadium built. He got the naming rights for U.S. Bank. He's everything the Bears want to do. He's done. All right. You're not asking for him to say you're not bringing in a person who's doing this for the first time. This is a guy who's, he mentioned this is a guy who's got it done. Everything the Bears want to do. He mentioned, he has all those binders. He goes, I'm lucky I didn't throw them out. All right. So he's got a lot of contacts in experience in putting together a stadium. This is what they want to do. I'm happy. If I'm happy, and I shouldn't be as happy, but the McCaskies should be extremely happy. They should be happy as a pig in slop because there have been rumors about the McCaskies wanting to sell. Okay. And, because none of their grandkids and great grandkids,
they don't want this.
Which beyond me, none of them have gotten into football. There's no scouts. Right. There's Lombardis all over the NFL. Right. All right. But there's no McCaskies. There's no Hallises. There's no nothing anywhere in football. Okay. But I digress. They just want Papa Bear's money and break it up. This dude's going to bring them money. This dude's going to bring them the new stadium. He's going to put it together. He's going to have the naming rights. They can have the parking lots. They're going to get. If you don't think they're going to get the Big Ten championship game here soon, you're crazy as a mug. Okay. Right. They're going to have that. They're going to have WrestleMania. They're going to have Final Fours. They're going to have maybe boxing. Who knows? Anything and everything he can get, he's going to get. All right. Then you look at the situation with the Big Ten. You mentioned it, Lance. Dude, he expanded the Big Ten to 14 teams, but he didn't go and get Wyoming. All right. Texas Tech. He went and got big schools, the 2 staples of the Pac-12, USC and UCLA. Why the hell would UCLA and UCLA leave? There's only one reason to leave the Pac-12.
Money.
Cash rules everything around me. Cream, get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. So when each team is scheduled to get between $70 and $100 million a year for each school, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
This dude knows how to do it. This dude has been in and around different aspects of football, which I think is great. Okay. And he wasn't just in one spot. He was in different spots when he was with the Rams. He was in different spots when he was with Minnesota. He's in different spots. So he has a very good idea of how things are run because he's been in multiple positions. This has got me excited. He's also a football guy. He was a sports agent. His first client was Chris Zorich. Remember, he shouted him out in his that was the first person he shouted out after thank you very much, Mr. and Ms. McCaskey.
Yep.
Okay. Zorich was the first person that
and let me just jump in here real quick, Sean, just because you mentioned the name. We were going to tell the news earlier, but let's not forget who Chris Zorich hired to be the head basketball coach at Chicago State University. The gentleman who's at the bottom of this screen. So we've already made that phone call, and we're working to get Chris here. We will have Chris here in a couple of weeks. So but please go ahead.
Yeah. So this is everything you want from the McCaskey standpoint, because now once you get the deal, your franchise, if they sell it, it'll go for about $8 billion, $6 to $8 billion. Because who was the last team? The Broncos, weren't they the last team that just got sold?
The guy sold, yep. And they went for a ridiculous amount of money.
$4.65 billion the Broncos win. So you're looking at a minimum of $6 billion that they're going to go for, the Bears, minimum. All right, because the Broncos own it used to be Sports Authority Field, but I forgot what is it, Vesco Field or something now.
That was one of the names. They keep changing it.
Yeah, so now you're going to get that. Think of the money that they're going to get every year from the naming rights. It's it's this guy. This guy's a real deal. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to what he's going to do with for the organization. And he's a football guy. So he's a guy that Ryan Poles can bounce ideas off of.
Exactly.
Okay. He's a guy that when you're not a football guy, like you, Lance, you don't want to go and talk basketball strategy with a guy who's not a basketball guy.
Right.
Do you? No. You're like, all right, well, okay. Whatever you say is like, yeah. Oh man, look at the time.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, but
and it's no disrespect. It's not being condescending. It's
exactly.
Just that they're not at your level of understanding of the game and the new of the game. And these are important things. So dude, I couldn't be more happy about this hire. You talk about being progressive. All right, like you said, they got a black president, they got a black general manager, they got a black quarterback. Man, this is, and they're competent. They're really good.
Right.
That's the most important thing.
Right.
So, I am looking forward to the draft. I'm looking forward to the progression of Arlington Heights. And wouldn't it be something? I brought this up on my show. I'm like, wouldn't it be a great posturing tactic if they really wanted to stay in the city? All right, because let's not forget, he built that stadium for the Vikings. He didn't build it out in the burbs.
Right.
That's downtown Minneapolis.
Downtown, yeah.
That's smack dab in the middle of downtown Minneapolis. So that door for me is still slightly open. It could just be posturing, because remember, they haven't bought the land yet. They just have a purchase agreement.
Yep.
So there could be a lot of backdoor channels. Maybe they're trying to get the old McCormick Place. And for me, I wanted the old McCormick Place sold and have it like a Hollywood event. People pull up to the new McCormick Place. You get out your Uber, get out your cab, or if you're in the parking lot. Once you cross over in that bridge, now you're in controlled climate. It don't matter if it's 50 below. Yeah. You're walking through. It's a beautiful thing. You walk across Lakeshore Drive on the overpass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that would be a great deal.
I agree. And Lance, you talk about all the time, brothers getting jobs at PWIs, brothers getting these type of jobs at these professional sports organizations. So I wanted to just get your thoughts on, a brother is now running the Chicago Bears.
I mean, you're always happy, right? But like Sean just touched on, he's more than qualified to run the Bears. And all we need is the opportunity. And the one thing about him also that Sean was saying, I won't talk about, he has name recognition.
Yeah.
So when you can feel the call from Kevin Warren, I think he'd do an excellent job. I think the Bears outpunted their coverage on this, because I think this is a home run. Like, I was so shocked. I was like, did they just hire Kevin Warren? Because you're not used to these type of things happening.
They're acting like grown-ups. They're acting like a professional organization. We're not used to that.
No, I was sitting there like, whoa. So I'm happy for them, and I'm happy that they gave him opportunity. And I think the sky's the limit for him. But like you said, Sean, if it's posturing and he can keep the Bears in Chicago, oh, that is the man. And get a new stadium, oh, that's the man. That is the man.
No doubt. No doubt. All right. Well, we will definitely keep an eye on this. And again, we've already reached out to Chris Zorich. We were trying to get him for this week, but he had something coming up. But we're going to get Chris pretty soon, because he's got, a personal relationship with Kevin, because, that was his agent. So can't wait to hear what Chris has to say. Hey, a couple more things before we get out of here. I got some sad news while we were on break, and I just wanted to share that news that I did get. As you know, we are very serious about finding missing persons here on this show, and we have been giving people updates on the Andrea Dean situation. She is still missing with her, believed to be with her husband, Chance Johnson, but I got news from her family that Andrea's father, Mr. Andre Green, passed away kind of unexpectedly right before the new year. It was when we were on Christmas break. Rest in power to Andre Green, Andrea's father, and let's find Andrea, because till the day he died, this man was searching for his daughter, and I can only imagine the heartbreak that has caused him. So rest in power, Mr. Green, and we're going to continue to try to find your daughter. We know she's out there. We're going to find her. It's just a matter of time. But rest in power to brother Andre Green. And we will keep on looking for his daughter, Andrea. And our final, before we get out of here, a shout out to my girl, one of my favorite cousins. Yeah, I used to dog out and call her ball and chain, but I'm involved. She's now one of my favorite cousins. I got to give her my props. My cousin, Pistol Paula, the best shooter in the Irvin family. My cousin, Pistol Paula, there she is at the gun range last week. Whoa, look at that. Boy, look at that grouping. That is some 8+ shooting.
That's my target.
That
was her target.
That was not your target, sir.
That was Pistol Paula's target.
That was Pistol Paula's target. You trying to steal your white target. So I was like, okay, she did good. Let me put on the AR. And she went, was like, oh, this is a big gun. All right, big gun. I step up to the plate. And she went ham with the AR-15. I was like, oh, Lord. Them kids better leave Miss Irvin alone in that school.
You know what, Jay? Even Bricky had to give her some shots out. I think Paula's a natural, like, right? She can hit a golf ball a mile. She did excellent on the target. She shocked me a little bit, Jay, because you must tell the people, Jay, now my shoe was pretty good.
Your shoe was good.
It was good. Hers was like next level. I was like,
it was.
Serious?
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, her daddy taught her something, just didn't tell you about it.
Yeah, he told
I've been reading Mr. Rice's post. Mr. Rice kind of rebellious. He might have been a former Black Panther or something. He ain't telling nobody because his daughter was doing a little bit too good.
I know, Jay. I was sitting there like, oh, she been fooling me. Okay, I better be real quiet at night when I start going on, Jay. Jay, that night, seriously, I slept with one eye open and one eye closed. I was like, whoa. But man, Jay, shout out to her. That was a great job at the range. And if you looking for an instructor, call my cousin Jason Palmer. Jay, we need to have our girl on the show too. We keep saying
we getting Javon. We are gonna get Javon. Hey, we're in time. We gotta go because we gotta play our song, get out of here, and get this show done under 2 hours, or Maya's gonna yell at us. So we're out. Peace.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of a new day begun, we will march on till victory. We will march on till victory. Let us march on till victory.